In today's video, I'll be sharing my experience running the 2025 Barrie Half Marathon to help you determine whether this race is worth doing.
3, 2, 1.
Here we go!
To help you decide if this is a race worth doing yourself, we should talk about the good and the bad, but first, here's a quick description of the course. This is an absolutely beautiful college campus, and it's huge, but not huge because there are a ton of buildings and a million students. It's actually mostly nature. They're proud to be the world's largest campus at 27,000 acres. It's really like there's two campuses connected by a 3-mile straight shot that they call Stretch Road. It goes from the main campus to the mountain campus. So the race started at the main campus. We took the long Stretch Road to the mountain campus. We spent some time on a gravel road up to the old mill, through the Wind-Shaped Camps campus, and then back to the main part of the campus on a brutally long walking path called Viking Trail. More on that later, but just a heads up, that path was not my favorite. The 10K course was similar, just shorter. So about halfway down Stretch Road, they peeled off, connecting to the Viking path, and they returned to the start-finish line. The half marathon course description said, "This is a relatively flat course with a few moderate hills." And I would say that is pretty accurate, but those hills were work, no doubt about it. There were no open roads or vehicle traffic during the race, which was pretty awesome. Every road and path was on campus and closed to vehicles, so we as runners had the full width of the road to use. And last, this was a USATF certified course, so this race is potentially a good one for anyone looking to get a new personal best or a proof of time. The half marathon had just over 500 runners, the 10K had just shy of 300 runners, and there was also a 5K that had about 350 people participating in that. All right, on to the good and the bad. I've been to this campus several times over the last few years, and it is a stunning place. So the idea of running a half marathon on their huge, primarily nature campus was the primary draw for me for sure. The number of runners felt good. It wasn't too big or too small of a race. It was large enough for sure to feel competitive and have all the amenities of a good race, but small enough that we just walked up to the start line area at 8 a.m. and when the gun went off, we just started running. I like that there were 3 races in one day. I know that's not incredibly unique, but it still gave the entire event a good overall vibe to have a variety of runners achieving different goals in the same morning. The post-race snacks were really great, including a ton of options, and I love that they offered me a protein shake. Everybody seems to want to take in more carbs after a long run, but after all the carbs I ate during the run, I'm ready to start some muscle recovery with some protein, so I was grateful for that. And the last good thing that I have is the porta potties. I don't use them usually, and I didn't on this course, but I like that they were the fancy kind built on a trailer, not the janky kind that feels like it might blow over in high winds. Long distance runners know if you can get to a real bathroom, or in this case, the nice porta potties, it's a whole lot easier than the gross plastic ones. Okay, on to the things that were not quite as strong as maybe they could have been. None of these things ruined the race. I'm just pointing them out so that you're aware and can be prepared. First up, the part of the course that was on gravel was a bit tough. Some of the gravel was pretty thick and wasn't fully compacted, so I felt the need to slow down for safety and really watch my footing. That section of the course isn't long, however, it was on one of the hills, so kind of a double ouch at that point. There weren't any race photographers, and they said it was because of a lack of interest from previous years. So while that didn't impact me this time around, if this is your first half marathon and you're hoping to have some good photos of that achievement, it looks like you're on your own. And finally, the finisher medal is meh. That's all, no complaints about it, other than it's just okay. So overall, I believe the good outweigh the bad on this half marathon experience. I mentioned this earlier though, and that is that the Viking Trail on the second half of the course, this multi-use path runs parallel to Stretch Road, connecting the two parts of the campus. We ran miles 3 through 5 on Stretch Road when it was 53 degrees, under the tree coverage, and the sun was to our backs. The Viking path was out in the open, sun in our faces for miles 9 to 11, and the heat was in full effect. If there was a way for them to flipped those so that you could run the path first and then back through on stretch road, that would have made the second half of the race much more enjoyable. Now, I know it's probably not that easy. I'm sure they need to open that road as soon as they can. The path is narrow, so having the road in the early miles gives runners more room to spread out. I totally get it. That path was just a spirit breaker, is all I'm saying. Okay, so with all that said, who is this race for? Really, I think it's for anyone who wants to run a half marathon because it's not a difficult course, it's not hard to register for, and it's not complicated in any way. But here are a few specific groups I think would benefit from this race. First-time half marathoners. I know I said the medal isn't great and there's no course photographers, but this is a distraction-free and beautiful course that would allow a first-timer to focus on running and not worry about anything else. There's nothing to stop for to take photos, no DJs on the course, no bottlenecks. It is pretty smooth. I also think this is a good race option for proof of time seekers. Yes, there are some moderate hills and the gravel road, but this certified course is wide open most of the time with no congestion or really any reason to slow down. Bottom line, I had a good experience running this race. I probably won't do it again, however, it was definitely worth the miles and the memories.